How's it going, everybody? Today I got some more Magic, another deck for the Midweek Magic Duskmourn House of Horrors constructed game mode. Obviously that game mode is limited to only cards from the new Duskmourn House of Horrors set. So I've got a Boros, kind of aggro, kind of tokens, Arabella deck that prioritizes playing small creatures and getting the life drain effect off of Arabella's ability. Still playing enchantments to a degree. We've got Fear of Surveillance, which is a enchantment creature sheltered by Ghost. Really fantastic removal in white, especially when you're more limited like you are in this format where it's only Duskmourn cards. We've got Trapped in the Screen, again, really good removal, also an enchantment. All of these play with Optimistic Scavenger, just like the deck I did yesterday in the Black-White or Orzhov. So all of that is still in this deck as well. You can run red removal burn cards, but flat out getting something off the board seems a little bit better to me than just dealing damage to it. And then we've also got Painter's Studio, works fantastically with this kind of deck because just on the defaced gallery side, you get +1/+0 until end of turn for creatures that you control when they attack. So you can play that, get pumps to all of your little creatures here. Since all of them are 2 or less in general, that little bit of extra damage is really nice, especially if you use something like this Midnight Mayhem. I'm only running it as a 2 of. You could do more, absolutely, and it's very effective with Arabella. But I'm only running it as a 2 of. Really nice with the defaced gallery because then you're getting a pump to all of these little life linkers. We've got the Dollmaker Shop, again, really fantastic. Arabella won't trigger it herself, but that's exactly why this deck doesn't have any other toy creatures other than Arabella, is so that we can get triggers off of any of our other creatures that may happen to attack with the Dollmaker Shop, create little 1/1 white toy creature artifacts, and that with Arabella is pretty fantastic. It doesn't synergize with Arabella's ability particularly, because if you trigger it with a lot of creatures on board, Arabella's ability won't function anymore. But the Porcelain Gallery is absolutely a win condition that you can get, just flooding the board with a bunch of little things and then making them all gigantic to attack for a win. Yeah, so this deck's a lot of fun. I do have a full-on standard Arabella deck that I will be doing. I don't know if I'll be uploading it this week, but very likely. But I thought this would be a good taste of what's to come first. Not to mention this Midweek Magic event is very fun, so I want to give some people some ideas for it so that they can jump in and start playing it while it's around. But anyway, I'll go ahead and start getting into the games. Again, these, both Dollmaker Shop and Painter Studio, work with Optimistic Scavenger. The rooms are enchantments, and each time you unlock one, it also triggers the Eerie ability. And then we also have Overlord of the Mistmoors for really good... It's a fantastic card that synergizes very well with everything we got going on here. The flying 2/1s both work with Arabella. You get more and more of them constantly if you actually get to attack with the Overlord. You get Dollmaker's Shop things to continue attacking that are a little bit more elusive, a little harder to get rid of, that can keep triggering the Dollmaker Shop. And then we've got Norrin also, primarily just as evasion for Arabella. We don't really want to blink most of our other stuff if we start enchanting them with, say, for example, Sheltered by Ghost, but that's why Sheltered by Ghost is the only aura enchantment that we're using. But if you needed to, the best combo here is Norrin with Arabella, because you can attack with Arabella, get the trigger from her ability, get triggers off of Dollmaker's Shop if you attack with Norrin as well, and it's only a 1-drop, and then just replay those things after combat if they get blocked and haven't lost anything, but you still get the abilities. So very fantastic. Anyway, this deck's a lot of fun. Like I said, I already finished the event yesterday, but we'll go ahead and get into some games and get to showcase something a little different than the Orzhov we played. We've only got one color, but I think this is a pretty acceptable start. Norn will be nice to get down if we can get the red, which we did, but I still think starting with the scavenger is going to be better here. We've got Sheltered by Ghost if we need to get something out of the way, which it looks like in this case we really should, but we've also got Dollmaker's Shop to start making that more viable as well. With what we've got right now, one of the biggest things is just going to be getting everything out of our way so that we can attack through effectively. Okay. Now's going to be a really free turn for us to go with the Dollmaker's Shop and probably get Norn down as well. And we've got a ton of removal, so even if we draw nothing else now, they're going to have a really hard time keeping anything on board unless they cast multiple spells. What we got here? It does have a ward. I can't play the ward, which is disappointing, but what we can do is go ahead and just attack with Norn. Once we get the land for the ward, we'll try actually dealing with the creature. Or even potentially grow over it if we're able to, by exiling other things until then. Yeah, I don't care. Attacking with that, I think, is actually a terrible idea right now. Unless maybe he has the board wipe that's in white. Because it would let him just kill all untapped creatures and keep his own. Really should have kept that up as a blocker, though, in my opinion. Does get to manifest Dread off of this. Do have another land. Let's go ahead. And I think this is actually more dangerous. Now we have the mana necessary to exile the larger creature, if we decide to. Does look like the Manifest Dread was just a land, but still, it was a bigger threat than a 2/2 that wasn't going to do anything. I suppose there's an argument to be made. I could have exiled the 2/2 in the hopes of making sure that they couldn't reanimate it again and do another Manifest Dread, but I still think it was a bigger threat to leave something unknown on the board. Because even if he reanimates that, it's just going to be another Manifest Dread trigger. This time, if it dies, it'll be exiled. Alright, we got the land here. We'll go ahead and play another Trapped in the screen. Take this. Grow this once more. Oh, we have to discard a card. That's fine. I thought it was a mana, but that's still absolutely fine. So now we have a huge buffer being at 32 life. Let's go ahead and just win. There's really nothing he can do here. Managed to block just enough to still die by an obnoxious amount. Because I'm still hitting him for 14 here. Oh no. No, he's alive at 3. All of his creatures are gone and I'm at 45. Yeah. So... didn't get to have any fun with Arabella here, but you can see how devastating these two can be. Optimistic Scavenger is obviously showcased no matter what deck archetype you're playing it in. If it's got enchantments, it's fantastic. And I'm only running Sheltered by Ghosts. I don't have the protection one, the 1-drop that gives it hexproof. I don't have the ethereal armors in here, and this was still a 13-12 that was constantly beating down with lifelink and ward. Pretty fantastic. These wonderful removal. I did mess up not understanding that it was just a discard effect here. I guess I saw the swamp cycling for 2 and thought it was a ward 2, but it didn't make much of a difference. And Norin is ridiculous. For example, the one turn that I couldn't get in with the Optimistic Scavenger, I got him with Norin and just replayed it. It still allowed me to keep making more toys and didn't lose anything, didn't have to really complain about what's going on. So, very good card. Could run it as a 4 of in this deck. I don't actually myself have 4 of them, and I'm all out of uncommon wild cards, but it is just an uncommon as well. It is a legendary creature, so running like a 2 of, 3 of is still a good option because you can only have one on the field at a time, but having backups of this, especially to protect your Arabella, really not a bad idea. Land looks good. Opponent goes first, which is disappointing, but we do have Optimistic Scavenger and Sheltered by Ghost, so I think we'll probably go Plains and Mountains first, rather than going straight into the Rakkus Carnival since we have a turn 1 play. Playing a Leyline deck. That seems very silly to me in this format, but that's doable, I guess. Sheltered by Ghost is a good answer to Clockwork Percussionist, but Clockwork Percussionist is also just really weak, and I don't know that I care. That's unfortunate. But we'll probably just go ahead and get Arabella down now. He's got his own Norin, which is pretty interesting. Sadly, the Dollmaker shop won't work with Arabella. I think... it's probably worth going for Sheltered here. Get rid of his ability to cycle things. Norin can't block, and the Percussionist isn't something I care about. Okay, so he went ahead and scooped. So this person playing Leyline is obviously more interested in using the Irreverent Gremlin to start cycling away cards and get fuel for the Leyline. I think Leyline is really terrible, like actually terrible. Not only in draft, but also in a limited format where you can't use stuff like Monstrous Rage, you know, all of your things that you have in mono red that really makes it worthwhile. So going this route for this event, I think is a really, really bad idea. Also, even though Leyline's not that great to begin with, in my opinion. Yeah, you can get some really crazy plays off of it, but it's also just created a format where everyone is now playing so much removal that playing this card is more of a detriment. You're going to end up playing this and all those pump spells and not be able to keep a creature on the board because at best you'll have 1 or 2 and if people are prepared for it, then you're going to sit there and basically watch yourself get run over the whole game. Really a bad card. Yes, you can win turn 2 if you get really lucky, your opponent doesn't have any removal and things go exactly your way, but it just creates a worse environment for everyone else, and you're going to lose a lot now because everyone's playing around it. Everybody knows it's there and is expecting it. I'm not with this deck, but in this format, not in standard, you know, in this limited format of this Duskmourn only cards, it's terrible. You've got like Inside Out. That's about all that you have that this can really duplicate in mono red. So just don't do it. Don't. It's a mistake. All right, very similar to our other game we won. I think this is good enough. Even if we don't get Norn out, we've got the Scavenger and plays off of that. And we're going first, which is pretty fantastic. So we'll go Scavenger, play out the Dollmaker Shop, probably attack with it. We do want more land for our Trapped in the Screens to come online, but this is extremely acceptable opening. Don't have Light Flank, because we don't have the Sheltered by Ghost, but that would be a nice draw too. That hurt. Sadly, couldn't get Norn out there because this is entering tapped. Let's go ahead and get Norn going first, and then we can get Arabella down next turn. Unless we've got something we really need to get rid of. Okay, what do we want to do here? Could do Trapped in the Screen. What does this do? I think that's fine. Let's go ahead and get Arabella down and start getting more dolls. Little disappointing there, but really not a big deal. He'd need something else to burn out Arabella specifically. One more land and we can get the Overlord going too, which would be nice. Even if we don't get that, we do have Fear of Surveillance available, which will be able to trigger the Dollhouse. Okay, so still need the land. Let's get the Surveillance going. I do need to go ahead and make one setting change real quick, so give me just a moment on that. I will probably have skipped it, but what I did right there, so disappointing, was changed my auto tap, my auto trigger ability function on Arena off, so that I could actually manage my triggers so that Arabella's would trigger after the Dollhouse. Didn't end up mattering there, but honestly, I'm fine with another Trapped in the Screen. It's going to make it a lot harder for them to function. We don't have Arabella now, so I'll probably go with the Mistmoors on this turn. The Midnight Mayhem is great if I end up needing to gain life, but at the same time, without Arabella to really gain full advantage of it, I'm not that concerned. I would love to get Arabella back out, though. If he kills my Fear of Surveillance, it's a little annoying, but not a big deal. So we'll go ahead, get Mistmoors down. These 2/1 flyers will guarantee that I'll be able to keep making toys. I don't mind attacking with the toy that I have now. I think I'm okay with keeping another Dollmaker Shop, honestly. He decided to block my 1/1. Totally fine with that, honestly. It's got the red Overlord, which is pretty fun. Okay, so he went ahead and quit. He was going to be going through a lot of cards there, but he really didn't have an answer to what I was doing. I was probably going to be playing the next Dollmaker shop, creating 2 tokens a turn at that point, and these 2/1 flyers he didn't really have any answer to. If he had played his Overlord, which I think he was just going to let go, which was silly in my opinion, I think he probably should have done that. He could have at least pinged one of these, gotten it to where I only had 1 attacker to create more tokens, but he was at a disadvantage here significantly, especially with me having as much removal as I still have. I still have an outlet for gaining life aside from Arabella, though keeping Arabella out would have been a lot of fun. But people are afraid of it because that thing is ridiculous. But anyway, this is a shorter video. I did have 3 games here. It looks like people are trying mono red. Maybe this was an Azette deck. I don't think it was. I didn't see any blue. It would have been better if it was blue-red, honestly, with these, because if you're going to be running rooms, you should be including blue and red. No matter what you're doing, like if you're including black, white, whatever, you need blue and red for it to be entirely viable. But, I mean, it was a cute idea, I guess. I don't think this is the way to go either. Obviously, the decks that I'm playing are pretty obnoxious with the Dollmaker Shop and Porcelain Gallery. Blue-white's also extremely viable going enchantments. But mono-red, I just think is the wrong direction. I think it's the wrong direction in any situation, but at least in Standard, it's like busted strong if you get it to work. Not that it works very often, but anyway, I'll go ahead and end off this video here. Like I said, I apologize for it being a slightly shorter one, but this is a fairly aggressive deck, so people can see how quickly they're losing. Go ahead and give it a try. Like I said, I do have a standard version of this deck that I'll be uploading probably this week as well. Very fun, so hopefully you guys will check that out also.